Hi, Dawn. Nice to see you. We also have Regional Councillor Marilyn Crawford joining us, Councillor Rob Tyler Morin, as well as Councillor Lisa Bauer. So hi to all of you, and I can't wait to get to see you and maybe have a chat as we move through the afternoon. We're going to hop right in over to Don because he's here beside me. And then what we'll do is invite Sue up afterwards just to do a quick run through of the system that we are on, this fabulous World Event Center, because it is really fantastic. There are some great tools you can use for networking. So Don, I'm going to read your bio. I know it's a good one. You've probably heard it many times, but I would really like to share all of your experience with the audience. So here we go. Dawn Terry is the Interim Manager of Economic Development and Tourism for the town of Ajax. This follows a 33-year career with OPG, Ontario Power Generation, I should say, serving in a variety of communications roles, including Director of Public Affairs. He is a longtime community builder. Don serves as Chair of the Sport Durham Advisory Council, is an executive member of the Durham Adaptive Sport Collective, and serves as a member and advisor on a number of other community groups, has been long involved with the Board of Trade, past president of ours, and so we're really happy to have you here with us. Don also recently co-chaired the Durham Region 2019 Ontario Parasport Games. I just mentioned he's a past president of the Board of Trade and the Clarington Board of Trade. He's also past chair of the United Way annual campaign. And recognition of Don's efforts include a Queen's Diamond Jubilee Medallion, Town of Ajax Civic Award, Business Person of the Year Award from Clarington Board of Trade, Community Volunteer. Wow, the list goes on and on and on. Durham Region Accessibility Champion Award and Lieutenant Governor's Award for Economic Development Excellence. So lots of years under the belt, lots of experience, and I'm really happy to have you here today, Don. I haven't seen you in a while. We haven't had our regular Friday chat, so here we are. Nice to see you, and I'll hand the mic over to you, and I'll just hop off stage.
Well, that's excellent. So I think Sue is going to try to tee up my presentation for me. Okay. While she's doing that, I'll just say good afternoon. I guess I can't see all of your faces just yet, but I'm really looking forward to seeing some familiar faces and some new faces as well. And while I'm at it, I just want to reiterate what you've said. I'm pleased that the mayor and at least half of our council has joined us today. I can't really say enough about the support that they've lent me while I've been in this role and their efforts on behalf of the town, as small businesses, as residents, as advocates, and just trying to do everything they can to advocate and innovate for our community. Let's just move to the next slide. And while you're doing that, I just want to also give a shout out to senior staff at the town of Ajax and our economic development team as a whole. I really appreciate the commitment that you all bring to your jobs. Stronger Together is a hashtag that the town of Ajax has been using to rally our community as we navigate the pandemic. Businesses, communities, organizations, and families have rallied around our frontline heroes, small businesses, and those in need. But the hashtag applies equally to the collaborative efforts of staff with regional and municipal economic development departments, as well as boards of trade, chambers of commerce, and BIAs. The collaborative efforts to support the business community across our region has really made us all stronger. It's made us better, and I hope that this spirit and these efforts continue beyond the pandemic. I want to tip my cap also and say thank you to the Ajax Pickering Board of Trade, its staff, its board as well today. Throughout this most challenging of years, Nicole and the rest of you have been tremendous advocates and really demonstrated your value for membership to our businesses here in the town. So I thank you for that. Maybe just move to the next slide. Thank you. Support local is another hashtag and a sentiment that has become increasingly popular, especially over the past year. Our community at large has become more aware of all that local businesses bring to our community beyond goods and services, including jobs, tax, and tax revenue. Almost 80 cents of every dollar we spend locally stays in our community. Our local businesses sponsor sport teams and events. And honestly, I can't think of a single event that happens in our community that isn't supported by local business. So while many of you are gathered here today, I want to also say thank you to you. We've made a concerted effort to be part of the choir advocating for support through our various communication tactics, including weekly support local Saturday video clips on social media, and in the summer, Saturday patio weather reports, highlighting local businesses and business sectors. Next slide. Those initiatives were part of our 2020 Focus COVID-19 Business Recovery and Growth Plan. And I realize that that's far too small for any of you to see, but later I will post a link to our website, which actually is pretty simple. It's just ajax.ca/business, where you can find this scorecard from our 2020 Focus Plan that we launched last summer. We identified 20 ways that we believe we could best support our business community. We don't have time to go through them all today, but I invite you again to look at that link during your leisure. I am pleased to report that we managed to successfully deliver 18 of the 20 actions in the plan by year end. We completed a 19th action last month, and the final action is in progress. Next slide, please. Last month, Ajax Council endorsed an ambitious 5-year economic development action plan focusing on job creation, a strong business and entrepreneurial ecosystem, innovation, workforce development, and placemaking. It boasts 73 actions anchored by 4 progressive goals, as you can see on the slide. The project team developing the plan included Lauren Millier and Justin Diaz of MD Insights, Eric Lockhart of Queen's Executive Decision Center, Tom McCormick of Metro Economics, and of course our economic development staff and our senior leadership team. There was a lot of stakeholder consultation through focus groups, online surveys, face-to-face one-on-one interviews. And it's important to note that while this 5-year plan, this 5-year plan was first developed just before the pandemic hit, and then we took the opportunity through the pandemic to take another look at it and make some adjustments to try and compensate for some of the impacts on business from the pandemic. But there is a lot of flexibility built into this plan, and that's absolutely necessary given that we're still in the midst of a pandemic, unfortunately. So we're going to keep our feet moving, going to keep our heads on a swivel, and we're going to be sure that we're ready to quickly respond and leverage any new challenges or opportunities. Next slide, please. You know, I think one of the best things we've done since I joined the town of Ajax is that we started proactively reaching out to businesses of all sizes and sectors to ask simply, how are you doing? How do you see yourself coming out the other side of this pandemic? And is there anything that the town of Ajax might do to help? We've talked to almost 150 businesses now, and we've been able to support some of our businesses to help them stay open. And we provided them guidance on how to receive funding that some of them in some cases were not aware of. And if nothing else, I think a lot of the business owners just appreciated knowing that someone from the town cared enough to reach out and valued their presence, their business here in our community. It's also led to new ideas, new collaboration. So we're going to continue those efforts throughout 2021. But again, since our ECD plan was developed in the midst of a pandemic, we want to borrow from the knowledge, experience, eyes and ears of some of our business community leaders to ensure we are recognizing and responding to new opportunities and issues. Next slide, please. Oops. did we go back one slide? Sorry. So, so we've launched a economic development roundtable, and we're seeking volunteer applications for appointment to continue looking at consulting on our economic development action plan and to continue to develop collaboration between us and businesses and between businesses themselves. So you can see some of the qualifications there. Again, I'll provide the link to to more information on that roundtable and how to apply. But I really encourage you to take a look. It's really important for us to be able to be prepared for any opportunities and changes that may still be coming. And we can certainly benefit from your support as successful business people. Next slide. Next slide, please. So here we are. It's April already. How did that happen? Where did the first 3 months of this year go? But we've been busy. We did offer 3 online webinars for businesses to help them learn more about how to apply, some of the little tricks on how to apply for Small Business Support Grant, the Ontario Small Business Support Grant, which, by the way, has been extended. So I wanted to be sure that I mentioned to all of you that you have one more day to apply if you haven't applied. If you have questions, reach out. We'll do our best to either answer your questions for you or find those answers for you. We also have launched a virtual new business celebration initiative. So we recognize that, wow, it's been a long time. We have a lot of new businesses actually starting up in our community, but we're not able to have the traditional ribbon cutting ceremonies. So we've established a new system, a virtual system for celebrating new businesses and letting our community know that they're here. So if you're a new business and you haven't been celebrated yet, just reach out to me at don.terry@ajax.ca, and we'll certainly look after that. We're also pleased that earlier this year we launched something we call Ajax Works, which is an online suite of opportunities for businesses who may have to let people go but want to support them transitioning to the new job, a new opportunity. And it's really important, as you know, as a business owner, to treat the people who are leaving your company well, because your employees who are continuing to be in your employ are watching to see how you treat those that are leaving, and they get a sense of the value you have for your employees. So Ajax Works is an opportunity to help anybody who is having to leave your company find new opportunities, and for anybody in our community to reach out. It sort of centralizes all the opportunities, including one-on-one opportunities to develop your resume, get ready for interviews, get your LinkedIn account up to snuff. We also have developed an online guide for restaurants, bakeries, and cafes here in the town of Ajax, one of the industries that's been hardest hit. You can now go again to our website, find a listing that's up to date of all of the restaurants, bakeries, and cafes in our community. And we're moving towards creating a GIS map so that you'll be able to do it through GIS mapping as well. And it'll give the opportunity for the businesses to offer more information about their business and whether maybe they're having a sale, that type of thing. We're also going through a tourism study. One of the things that we know this summer and for a little while perhaps, hyperlocal tourism is going to be a big deal. So we're identifying the tourism assets that we have here in the town of Ajax and looking for ways to make sure that people are aware of them and leverage the opportunities to support, again, some of the businesses that have been hardest hit by the pandemic. The mayor and council, your board of trade, and our economic development staff have been advocating on your behalf on issues like discounted liquor purchases for restaurants and licensed facilities. We're able to get the expedited, no-cost patio extension program in place. And I have to say, you're seeing a big surge, a big change in the amount of COVID testing that's available, particularly in Ajax, but in Durham region in general, and the amount of vaccines that are being made available now. And I think some of that goes to our mayor and council for advocating on behalf of our community for that. And when they advocate for vaccination, it also is advocating for business, because the sooner we can get most people vaccinated, then the sooner we'll be able to drop some of the restrictions that have been placed on our businesses. Digital Main Street is still available. We've talked about that a lot. If you've not signed up for that, please reach out to us. We'll hook you up with the BACD, which is another wonderful asset to our community, and they will help you to take advantage of that free support, which is going to be important, because love it or not, online retail is here to stay to some degree. We have a number of events upcoming that you can see there on the side, some of them AI for Ajax. Also a supplier info event hosted through our partnership with Durham Region and Invest Durham, and most, if not all, of the supply departments from the municipalities across our region will be participating in that to help people understand how they can bid on procurement opportunities through the municipalities or the region. Our first Ajax Business Network is upcoming on April the 28th in the morning, and we're excited about that. We're focusing on mumpreneurs, which is a word I'm still learning to say, but mumpreneurs, and we have some fantastic Ajax mumpreneurs that will be serving as panelists for us and providing lots of information on opportunities and challenges in that sector. And then finally, we have two more things. We have a fun event coming up in partnership with the library, the Falcon Brewery and Country Cheese Store on May the 15th, I believe. It's a Saturday. We'll be hosting a taste and trivia event. So for $20, you'll get 3 large bottles of beer from the Falcon, a selection of cheeses. We'll be having a tasting throughout the event, and then some trivia as well for prizes. And the last thing, of course, is Up Next Ajax, and we appreciate Nicole's involvement with that. This is an opportunity again in June for people between the ages of 18 and 26 who are underemployed or unemployed, and it's an opportunity for them to get some hands-on mentoring and training to make sure that they're ready for whatever is up next for them, whether it be working for someone else or becoming an entrepreneur themselves. Next slide, please. So that was a little bit of a race through, because I know we're a bit pinched for time, but please, anytime, reach out to us. We are accessible. We want businesses to know that they can reach out. We might not always have the answers. We might not always have the answers right off the top of our head, but we'll help you find the answers as best we can. And that gentleman that I'm leaning on to the right is the first mayor of the town of Ajax, and his name was Pat Bailey. Of course, we've named a square after him. What many of you may not realize is that he was an innovator before I think people were called innovators. And he created a device, a decoding device that was used quite successfully during the World War, and continues to be used in some fashion today. His company also invented the first method of artificially pulsing blood during open heart surgery. So we are a town of innovation. We're a town that rallies together, and we're here to help you wherever we can. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Don. And I'll just remind everybody, if you have any questions, there is a Q&A function just beside the chat on the right of your screen. I do have a couple of questions for you, Don, if you don't mind.
You don't make them too hard, I don't mind.
I love it. So you mentioned that you've been reaching out to business, of course. You've spoken to over 150, and I know you're on boots on the ground all the time, you and your team going in and talking to people. We are, of course, in our third or fourth lockdown. I'm wondering how our business is doing. Like, I recognize that this pandemic is affecting everybody in different ways, depending on the industry, but I'd love to hear from you. And, you know, in speaking with other business owners here, how is everybody doing?
Yeah, it's really, I can only speak anecdotally for what I see as I move around town and the folks I talk to. It's a bit of a mixed bag. Honestly, it's been so hard on certain sectors, and some that you might not think about, like dry cleaners, you know, who haven't been forced to close, but heck, you know, who's wearing their suits and ties or who's going to galas or weddings these days. So they've been hard hit. You know, what I'm hearing from most businesses is that they're hanging in there, and they just need to get to the other side of this thing. And the government supports largely have been helpful, but they just, you know, they've scaled it back to as skinny as they can, and they're just trying to get to the other through the other side. They may not recoup their losses for a long time or maybe ever, but they just really are passionate about holding on to their business and moving forward. So that's one side. There's another group that have seized opportunities. They've pivoted. We actually have more restaurants opening in the town of Ajax than have closed during the pandemic, from what I can see. So we have people in the restaurant have looked at the restaurant industry and said, you know what, if I set up as takeout or delivery only, I can make this work. So we're seeing a bit of a mixed bag. The businesses that have really hurt too are ones that were not able to get support from their landlords for rent reduction. But yeah, it's hard. Honestly, it's heartbreaking sometimes talking to some of the businesses, but it's really rewarding when we're able to point them in the direction of some funding or some support that they weren't aware of, that really makes a difference for them.
For sure. And so do you have any advice for the folks tuning in if they are going through a hard time, or even not? Any general advice?
I think one of the things that I'm seeing, and some of it's on us maybe in the way we communicate, right? But what I'm seeing, what troubles me is when I see business owners that are unaware of the opportunities that are there, the supports that are there for them. You know, the number of people that I talk to who just thought, I wouldn't qualify for the small business grant, so I'm not even going to look at it. And then when we looked at it with them, you know, they got $10,000 or $20,000. So I really encourage everyone. You know, we're going to try to keep expanding the way we communicate to you know, communities within our community. But I think I really encourage people to take advantage. Go visit our website. Go visit the Board of Trade website. Go visit the Invest Durham website. Go check out what the Business Advisory Center of Durham has available. Right now, they have Marlon, who we all know, available like he's available all the time just to talk to business owners one-on-one and try to help them out. So I guess that's my biggest thing right now, is just try to take advantage of the opportunities that are here. We all value you and your business so very much, and we want to help. So reach out and take advantage of those opportunities.
Absolutely. And as we know, we're not sure what tomorrow brings. Our announcements and regulations, things are changing every day. And so, you know, we might think that we've hit a turn and things will be better around the corner. And I don't mean to sound negative in any way, but these supports are there to assist, and we do really want you all to take advantage because you can. So there are a couple questions in the chat. One is just a comment: would love to see a local tourism show so we can learn about the various things people can do safely outside their home. That's an interesting thought, Sue. The other is, how can we find out about sectors that are most hard hit?
That's a good question. I mean, I think some of them are, the dry cleaners is one that probably isn't obvious. I'm not sure how to tell you how to find out. The only reason we know really is from calling around. I would not have anticipated dry cleaners being in trouble. Dry cleaners, a restaurant, any food, anybody related to the food industry, there's a chance that they're hurting. Banquet halls. I talked to one poor fellow in Ajax who's been paying his 40% of his rent since last March, a year ago, March, and has not had the opportunity to generate any revenue.
Wow.
I don't know how you continue to do that. I've given him a number of different ideas and some places where he can possibly get some support, and hopefully that'll make a difference for him. But those are three that I know have been struggling. And if people know of other industries, I would say also the other industry I just want to mention also, obviously banquet hall. I said banquet halls, but also businesses that support people with disabilities. They've been really in tough because of the restriction on numbers, and often the very people that they might serve are unwilling or unable to take the protective safety measures, like wearing a mask may be virtually impossible for them. Yeah. The other thing is just our charities and our service clubs who do so much for our community. Sometimes we don't consider them businesses, but I certainly do. They're hurting, they're hurting because they've not been able to do the fundraising, and those organizations are a really important part of what makes us strong and a great community to live and work in. So one of the things I'm hoping that through so many people working from home, and it looks like that it will be a bit of a trend that will carry on, one of the things I'm hoping is that people will look and say, I've got 2 or 3 or maybe 4 hours more a day on my hands now that I'm not spending commuting anymore, and maybe I can look for ways to volunteer and make a difference in our community. And I really encourage you to do that. And even during these times when we can't necessarily physically get together, there still are a lot of opportunities for volunteerism.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And one question from Leah Bandola. For those of us who have been fortunate enough to receive the grant already, I understand we will receive another grant. And my question is, do I have to do anything at all to receive this second phase? My understanding is that no, if you were approved and received funding the first time around, the second time around will be an automatic duplication of the amount you received in the first phase. Am I correct, Don?
That's my understanding as well. I know it seemed like it might be an April Fool's joke, but it's not. Apparently, it will just show up in your bank account automatically. So that's great news as well for businesses. And all the more reason, if you haven't applied, hurry up and apply before the end of tomorrow.
That's right. And Carrie Dunn just wants to mention that hotels, another industry where revenues are way down, rate war is happening. So not only between hotels to capture minimal business, but other rental avenues operating on bare bones staff, incentivizing people to come. So
we have through our tourism plan, one of our focuses will be around sport tourism, and we have some events in the works that should help our hotels.
Excellent. Good to hear. Thank you, Don, so much for all of your knowledge and for sharing all of the opportunities and supports that are out there and available for business. I do encourage everybody tuning in to connect with Don and his team. They're a fantastic group to work with and really very passionate people will do whatever they can to assist. So again, Don, thanks so much. It was great to see you. Always a pleasure having you, and we'll be in touch soon.
Excellent. Thank you, Nicole. Always great to work with you.
Thanks, Don.